Hello everyone, and welcome to the lecture on the calendar module. In this lecture we'll continue our discussion on the calendar module. Last time we looked at the pprint module and function. We mentioned that this method parses the data and then presents it in a nice and more readable fashion for the user. And just by looking at this, we'll be able to understand some data, right? But how can we print out the entire calendar? So how can we display it like this? So that's what we will see in this lecture. Now that we have seen the list representation of each of the months for the entire year, now let's see how we can represent this in a nice calendar. So from our calendar module, so we need to import the calendar module if you haven't, and we have our text calendar, calendar.text calendar, and then we'll pass our calendar.sunday so that it's displayed in the American format. We have calendar.sunday, and let's save this in a variable called calendar. So now we'll use this calendar object with another method called format year, and that method will allow us to display the calendar for the entire year of 2016. So let's see that. Calendar, we have our calendar object, cal, and then we'll call the format year method on it, and then pass. So it takes 5 attributes. We'll pass the year, then we'll pass 3 more attributes for some formatting of the calendar. So that will be used, let's say 211, which will be used for formatting the calendar. And finally we pass the number of rows, the number of months we want to display per row. So let's say we want to display 3 months in one row. Okay, now that we have that, we can simply print it. So let's run it. Okay, there goes our calendar for the year of 2016. We have the year, we have 3 months per row, January, February, March, so all the way to the end, and it starts with Sunday. As you see here, each month starts with Sunday, and these 3 numbers, 2 and 1, they are used for formatting. One is for line spacing, another one is for indentation and width, depth, and so on. You can play around with these numbers. For instance, if I change this from 1 to 3, let's say this one from 3 to 3, and run it, you'll get a little bit different, formatting. You can just play around with those and see the formatting. Okay, so I'll change this back to 1, 1. So if you change this to some other number, you'll see some difference with how the calendar is formatted. So you can play around with those and figure out what it does, but it's basically for formatting, indentation, line spacing, width and depth of our calendar. So I'll leave it at 2, 1, and 1. Okay, run it again. So here 3 months per row are displayed, and if you want to display 4 months, so change it to 4, and there you have your calendar. If you want to change it to 2 months per row, you can do that as well. Okay, so whatever is more convenient to you, you can do that. And this is the American style or convention for how months are displayed, which is starting with Sunday. As an exercise for you, try the same method and use the default Monday date. And you can also view any other years if you want. Let's say 2017 looks like that, and so on. I want to quickly do an exercise with the calendar module before we finish this lecture. So I have the instruction here. It says, let's say there is a free lunch somewhere every second Tuesday of the month. So the question is to find out those days for the entire year of 2016. Okay? So we want to get the days for the second Tuesday of the month. So we use some for loops and if statements to find out those second Tuesdays for the entire year of 2016. And one thing to note is that so the second Tuesday could fall on the second week or on the third week. For instance, if we call, so here we have the calendar for 2017, right? Let me run it again. So for the month of January, for instance, so we have Tuesday on the first week. So, and the second Tuesday for the month of January 2016 will be the second week, right? Say Tuesday the 10th, which is in the second week. But some of the months, they could not have, the first week might not have a Tuesday. For instance, February, the first week doesn't have a Tuesday. So here, the Tuesday in the second week here is the first Tuesday. But we want to find out the second Tuesday of each month. So in case of, for the month of February, the second Tuesday lies on the third week, right? And same thing for March. The second Tuesday lies on the third week. Same thing for April. So some of the months, for some of the months, the second Tuesday lies on the third week, whereas for the rest of the months, the second Tuesday lies on the second week. So we'll take that into account while attempting to answer this question. Okay, let's get started. So let's say for months in range, we'll start with our for loop. We'll pass 1 to 13 because we are interested in months 1 to 12, and the range function starts from 1 all the way to 12 and not including 13. So for months, empty for months in our range 1 to 12, what we'll do is first let's call our calendar module. So we have our calendar, and then inside our module we'll call a function the month's calendar, and then we'll pass 2017. We want to find out, we are interested in the year 2017, right? And then we'll pass months. So that's the same as the months variable that we used here. And we'll save this in a variable called, let's say, cal. And then we'll use this object to index the first week, second week, and third week. That way we can know where the second Tuesday falls. So we can say, let's index the weeks. Let's say week 1. We can say our calendar object at index 0, right? That will be the first week. Let's do the same for weeks 2 and 3. So week 2, we'll set it to be equal to our calendar at index 1, and week 3 will be equal to our calendar at index 2. Okay, now we'll use this object, we'll use this weeks to see if the second Tuesday lies on the second week or on the third week. Then we'll print out the appropriate dates. So we'll use if statements for that. Let's see, we can say if week 1. So the first thing we'll do is we'll check if the first week has a Tuesday. So if week 1 has a Tuesday, so we'll pass calendar that Tuesday. Remember what this will do? It will check if the week has a Tuesday, basically, right, in week 1. So if week 1 has a Tuesday, what we will do is we'll grab the second Tuesday, right? That's what we want. So display get our week 2, and then get our calendar that Tuesday. So that will be the day that we are interested. And let's save this in some other variable called maybe launch day or launch date, whatever you want. So if the first week has a Tuesday, grab the second Tuesday, grab the Tuesday from week 2, and that will be our launch date, right? Okay, else if the first week doesn't have a Tuesday, we'll use the third week as our Tuesday. We'll use the Tuesday of the third week, basically. So let's do the same thing, and we'll save it in our variable launch date, and we'll set it to be equal to, we have our week 3, and then we'll pass our calendar that Tuesday. Okay, now that we have taken care of that, let's print out the dates, the Tuesday dates for the entire year. So print, let's use some formatting. So we have that for the months, and the second one we'll use it for the dates, the Tuesdays. That format, and we'll pass our months and the launch variables, right? Our launch date variable. Okay, looks good. Let's print this out. Let's run it. Okay, so here we have for the first month, which is January, the second Tuesday lies on the 10th. Let's verify that. Okay, where is January? So January, the first week has a Tuesday, so the second Tuesday lies on the second week, which is January 10th. Looks good. Let's check for the month of May. On the May it says the 9th. Let me go to May. So it has a Tuesday on the first week, so the second Tuesday is on the 9th. Looks good. Now let me randomly check September. September doesn't have a Tuesday on the first week, right? So the second Tuesday should be on the third week, which is the 12th. So for the month of September, it should be 12th. So if I go to September, it's 12. So it looks good, right? Our program runs correctly. And there's one trick. So instead of displaying the months as numbers, let's display it by name. So it will say, instead of 1, it will say January and then the date. Let's do that. So I'll comment this out and then add another line here. We'll say print. Most of it will be the same, but we'll use a function called months abbreviation. Okay, so this dot format, and then we'll pass on our calendar object. From our calendar module, we'll call a method known as months abbr for abbreviation, and then we'll index the months. So 1 through 12, right? The ones that we have in our range. Then we'll still have our launch dates. Launch date. Let's run this again. Oh, misspelling. This is 1 T, not double T's. Run it again. Okay, now we have, so for the month of January, the Tuesday is on the 10th, March on the 14th, April the 11th. You can check this out, but I'm sure it's correct. So this is a simple program to calculate the second Tuesday of every month for the year of 2017. Okay. So just to summarize, this is a general introduction to the calendar module. I wanted to give you an overview of what we can accomplish with the calendar module. As an exercise for you, you can write a program to check maybe the last Friday of each month for the year of 2017 or 2018 even, or some recurring events. It could be the first Saturday of each week or so on. Okay, thank you everyone, and I'll see you at the next lecture.